At this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting for the Nashville Town Council for November the 5th to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we invite you into this council meeting tonight to lead us and guide us and give us your wisdom in making the good and right decisions for all the citizens of Nashville. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
The first item on our agenda is our meetings from our last meeting. Did you find anything that needed to be corrected on those?
Mayor, being no corrections, I move we accept them as read.
Is there a
Yes,
second?
present.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The meetings of our last minute are approved. Now we have our public here speaking, and remember, you have 3 minutes. State your name and your address. The person that's on tonight is Ernest H. Stevenson.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
My name is Ernestine Hill Stevenson. I reside at 200 Woodfield Drive here in Nashville, North Carolina. My concern this afternoon is the medium on Woodfield Drive subdivision. It was torn apart because of the fire station so they could go on and run some lines or something. And I just want to know, when is that to be repaired? Because it's an eyesore coming into our community, in our subdivision.
Okay.
And nobody's done anything to it. It's just sitting there, weeds growing everywhere. And I just want to know when it's going to be repaired and put back into place.
Thank you so much for making us aware of it, and we'll check into that, right? Do you know?
Chief Joyner can probably give everybody an update if you...
Chief Joyner, can you help us out?
So our last production meeting, which was a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, that discussion come up. The contractor is supposed to already had a landscaper go over there, because I actually asked about it yesterday. And I went out there because I go out there every day. So I actually asked about it, and I'll go back out there tomorrow and ask about it again. Or I'll call Robbie tonight about it. So.
Chief, who tore it down? Did the construction?
What happened was the original sewer line hookup was supposed to be under that. And once they got out there, they realized that they cannot hook to the sewer line there, so now they got to come out and go down the road, make another manhole at the second entrance and tie it in over there. That was the issue. And I do also know there's an issue out there with the 35 mile an hour speed limit sign plus the town limits sign. Those were in the driveway where the driveway was scheduled to go, so they have moved that. But me and Mr. Lance had talked about, we'll get the signs put back up, but it'll be right down there on the side of the line once we get the construction, everything done in that driveway.
Okay, and just make sure you're aware of what we're doing, that we're trying to get it fixed. Okay, keep us posted. Thank you. The first item on our agenda, the old business, is the zoning and other zoning updates. And Randy, no, Sean has that. Sean, I'll turn that over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's always good to speak in the House of the Council every chance we get. As you know, over the past 4 or 5 months, we have been working with Mr. Harvey from In Focus on updating our zoning ordinance. He took on the task and the challenge of updating our conditional rezoning, adding that to our zoning ordinance and doing some other stuff. At the present moment, Mr. Harvey is still working on a few more things that we have discovered over the past few days that we would like to ask the council to table this to maybe the next meeting so that we can go ahead and either get it passed off or either wait to make sure everything meets what the council is asking for. If you have any questions, myself or Town Manager Lance will be glad to entertain them from the council.
Do I hear a motion to table this?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Harvey is working diligently. He's going to try to have these things done within the next 2 weeks. So on the 19th, we can go ahead and vote on the ordinance and get the scope
Right.
of work that was approved passed. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Sean. The next item on our agenda is the farmers market lease agreement.
Mayor and Council, in the packet is the proposed renewal of that. Our farmers market lease expired, and we've been negotiating a renewal of that with Michael Hurt, Hurt LLC for the junction, for another 3 years. And we're down to the last details of that, which is the monthly rent. It's proposed for FY '25, which begins January. The monthly rent dropped to $1,250, $1,000 a month for 2026, and as the agenda says, for 2027, $750. I did hear from Mr. Hurt today, and he wants the 2027 rent to stay at $1,000 a month. He's not agreeable to going down to $750. He cited several things, improvements that he's going to be doing with the third pavilion there. That one presently doesn't have the ceiling fans in. He's going to put those in. He's going to put additional concrete out and around the pavilions. He's going to put the AstroTurf up to the concrete edges of all 3 of those. And, once the junction is open, the restrooms will be available for the farmers market public to go into the building and use the restrooms if they so choose. So in light of those things, he's wanting to keep the rent for the 3rd year at $1,000.
All right, any last question? Randy, what are we, refresh my memory, what are we paying him now?
Right now, I believe it's $1,500 a month.
$1,500 a month?
Yes.
Okay.
May I have a question also?
Sure.
So if he's going to do this stuff, can we put that in some kind of form of a timeline so that when we start paying, that it's done instead of hoping and wishing?
Yeah, we sure can. When would you like those improvements finished that he talked about? Before, well, he put in the email they would be done before we resume the farmer's market in the spring of 2025.
So that would be
Well,
by?
If he's using, we'll use his words. I mean, that'd be- yeah.
Yeah, it
That'd
would be
be
by
good.
April
So April,
2025.
so that would be good.
I believe our Park and Rec Director, Coy, is here. Coy, did you have anything else to add to?
Well, if he wants to keep the year 27 from our 750 proposal to 1,000, I most definitely think he should have all this, everything completed before 27.
Well, he's saying
He's
before
saying 25.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be done before our next year's
Yeah,
farmer
farmer's
market.
So that'd
He'll
be
have it,
20
okay, well, that's even
April
better.
of 25,
That's
yeah.
even better, okay.
Queen?
I don't have anything to add, Mayor, unless you have any questions of me.
Is there anything that needs done in the next 3 years that's not part of our agreement?
I don't think so. Mr. Hurt did add sidewalks in between all the shelters this year, which really help people getting around with strollers or if they're in wheelchairs. And I know he had discussed putting that AstroTurf out. He did lay one section of that out just so we could see how it works, and it does seem to be a better surface than what we have out there. So I think the improvements he mentioned would be all beneficial to the farmers market.
Thank you so much. So do I hear a motion that we approve the farmer's market?
So moved, Mayor, with the correction with the language, the verbiage based off of that agreement.
Great. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the special event permit, and that is on page 259. And so,
Mayor, I'll defer this one to Coy.
okay. Which was an exciting event last year.
I guess Lou was working on it, but since she's not here, Coy.
And I apologize, I don't have that agenda report in front of me, but I know last year, Braswell Family Farms hosted the first egg drop on New Year's Eve at the Junction and Farmers Market venue. And they are planning to do that event again this year. And that would be held on December 31st. They are changing it a little bit as far as the street closures just because of the success and the amount of people that attended that event. We are looking to close Railroad Street and a section of Barn Street. And then any traffic coming off of Old White Oak Road, we would send down, I believe it is Clark. And as you'll see in your agenda packet, you do have the event map there. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I also know that Trey Braswell is with us tonight, along with Brittany Armbruster, if you have any questions for them as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council?
So the map's not real clear. I don't know if it's a printout, but, so the food truck's going to be on the road itself on Barn Street?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I would, if I may. Coy, any idea from the planning committee at this point of what type of bands that we will have this year? I was out there last year. I enjoyed myself, but I'm just interested in knowing if you got two bands. I'd like to know what type of bands, what type of genre.
Trey, would you mind? Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
So this year, we're going to do the same bands. I think everybody had a great time, and last year nobody was prepared for how big it was. When we started planning it, we wanted to do something fun for our community, and we were hoping that 200 people would show up, and I think we had 10 times that. So I think that it showed that the community appreciated it and there was a need for it. So we are going to do the same bands this year, the same time frame, and last year I think it was Sunday night. This year it'll be on a weeknight. We wanted to see, how it worked out, and then in the future we'll evaluate should it, be on a Sunday night regularly. But yes, we did. We've met with town leadership, the fire department, police department, to talk about how to make it work better, and those closures would allow it to be safer around the building, more lighting, and to hopefully allow us to have 10 food trucks instead of 4, and so people aren't standing in line for hours. But I think for year one it went pretty well.
It went fabulous. It was just great, and we just appreciate it so much. And I think in looking at the improvements and what you've done, I think it's going to make it even better.
I do have a question, and this may or may not be the appropriate. It can come later, but I just wanted to ask. We were considering making the parking lot like VIP and charging, and those being donations for like Western North Carolina hurricane relief, and just a way to provide options for sponsors or people that wanted to make a donation. But I knew since it was public parking that might not be possible. So I just wanted y'all to think about that and talk
We'll
about
think
it.
about it. I don't think we can, but we
Okay.
certainly can come up with something that benefit and help people,
Sure.
because that's what we want to do, always
Sure.
be there to serve others that are in need.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you so very
And
much.
Mayor, one last question for it.
Okay, Trey.
And one last question. In your evaluation process and in your planning, we appreciate your investment in our community. However, in your planning process, I know that you partner with a lot of our town departments to pull it off. Are there any other individual residential citizens, that participate in your particular planning group as you start to work on that for another year? How does that part work?
Well, we talk to different folks in the town. We've got the feedback, like you said, town departments, but as far as like having a town forum, we have not. But we have certainly had open ears to people. We heard a lot of great things about the time frame. And the goal was for it to be very family focused. And I think it worked great. People enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed that I could get home, before I turned into a pumpkin. But we certainly are open, and we have a real live receptionist at the desk if people call that she'll answer the phone. And, so And next year we will probably change things up with the bands. But like each year, you know, we're trying to figure out how do we make it better, how do we make it better for the town and keep people engaged. You know, we want it to be something that our community has long term.
Well, once again, on behalf of the council, especially myself, I want to let you know that we appreciate your investment in the community and bringing something new here to Nashville that we did not previously have. And speaking of a person who typically goes to church on that evening for watch night, your time frame is wonderful, 4 to 7. We're done there, and we can head out to church and do the things that we do there. So once again, thank you so very much for your investment.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Mayor, if we may, I just noticed, we noticed in the materials here that the application does not include an acceptance of liability and a hold harmless agreement and the indemnification against claims
Right.
as long as an insurance requirement. If we can just ask that if the council sees fit to approve this, that we can just add that as a
in.
condition
That'd
because
be
it's not
great.
shown in the paperwork here.
That'd be great.
And also, sorry, another condition would be, I know that the application says that they will supply the insurance that the town has listed as insured. Typically, the insurance probably won't do that until closer to the event, if not the day before the event. But just in your motion, I would advise, subject to the names, or the town being named as an insured as well.
Okay. So, do I hear a motion to approve the special event permit for Braswell Family Farms' second annual New Year's Eve egg drop for December the 31st, 2024 at the Nashville Junction, with the addition that the Nashville will be seen as being liable for the covering the liability? Is that, how would you?
Subject to the town
Subject,
being
yeah.
named as additional insured.
Right.
And subject to provision of all
Right.
documents.
Hold harmless indemnification against claims.
I make that motion.
And
acceptance
we'll
of
put that
liability.
in there, okay? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Okay, that's wonderful. We get our egg drop. Now, the next.
Sorry, Mayor. I know we talked about security and police being there. Is that something that we need to discuss?
I think that's something we're gonna
Later?
take care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, point of order, we're to have a public hearing on the special event,
Oh,
so at this time,
I forgot about that. Okay, do I hear a motion that we go into, for a public hearing?
Second.
Okay, is there anyone that would like to speak for or against this during this time? If not, do I hear a motion for us to come out of our public hearing?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the Liberty Acres Townhouse. Sean?
Once again, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Nashville, good evening. And once again, it's truly a pleasure to be back speaking in the council chambers of Nashville. Mayor, as you know, we are here to vote on the final plat that was submitted by Mr. Kevin Barnell with Stocks Engineering on behalf of Ace Needham LLC for the 88 residential lots of Liberty Acres. This proposal came for the town council for a special use permit back on January 16, 2024. The permit was voted and approved in favor on March 19, 2024. Town council did add additional conditions that we'll be talking about later on in the staff report. August 7, 2024, the town's TRC, Technical Review Committee, did review what Mr. Varnell has submitted. We did make recommendations for this site. Those recommendations are in the staff report. On September 23, 2024, Mr. Varnell did return a final approval of Liberty Acres for us to review. It did meet all the TRC's requirements that we did ask for. So we are here tonight to pretty much vote and have a public hearing on the final approval. On October 29, 2024, the planning board did approve this final plat, 2024-01 for Liberty Acres subdivision. As we always say, if you turn over to your next page, which is the agenda report for this proposed subdivision, We take it you did your due diligence as being council constituents and reading over the council paperwork that was sent to you. But pretty much to sum things up, this proposed subdivision is 17.99 acres. It has access off Liberty Drive and St. Annie's Roads. It's been reviewed by TRC. You guys did put additional conditions on the special use permit. And if you want to go to your additional condition standards, they're on page 2. Development intensity shall not exceed 88 residential units. Mr. Varnell and his team did meet that. There shall be fence along the rear yards of any lot that abuts the recreation area. This was brought up in the planning board, and it was explained to the planning board members that being that this area will not butt to none, there will not be no fencing needed at the proper time. The recreation shall butt to the streets right away. It is doing that. Development shall include a minimum of 2 parking areas. It is showing that on our proposed map that I brought with us tonight. A walkway located between units shall be 10 foot wide. It's showing that. The sidewalk system within the development shall be looped with no dead-end sidewalks greater than 300 feet in length. It is also showing that. Mayor, as we go through the proposal of what you have to do to submit a final plat in the town of Nashville, Mr. Varnell, to bear all the reading of all of this, I take it you guys have read it, so I won't put you to the pain, have to hear me read all over it again. But Mr. Varnell has met every requirement in the town ordinance, and it has been thoroughly checked by myself, town manager, TRC team, and our planning board. So, Mayor, without further ado, I will yield to Mr. Varnell to field any questions that you may have, and then I will come back so that we can open up the public hearing for deliberation and recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Varnell.
Mayor, Council, Kevin Varnell, Stocks Engineering. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any of you have any questions, council?
Well, it looks like you answered all of our questions and did what we asked to do, with the exception of the fencing on the back, and you gave an explanation why we didn't do the fencing.
Yeah, so we actually, after going back and forth in several designs with different council members, we ended up with a solution that had a recreation area that didn't abut the back of any lot. So
Right.
able to come from the
That was
side and
good.
didn't have to install that fence, but a far better design, I believe, with access to parking, sidewalks and things like that.
Any other questions?
I appreciate you working with us because I think design is much better than what we started
Yeah.
with.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, if you would not mind, we would like to open up the public hearing to see if any member of the public would like to speak on this final plat before we go into recommendations and deliberation.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion
Mayor.
that we go into a public hearing?
I move we go into public hearing
Is
to
there a
discuss this
second?
matter.
Is there anyone out in the audience that would like to speak tonight to this issue?
I don't think nobody signed up, Mayor. as of
Okay.
right now.
Well, if not, do I hear a motion that we come out of our public hearing?
Move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Mayor and council, my recommendations are being that Mr. Varnell and his team did meet the requirements of the town ordinance, the requirements of the special use permit that you granted, and the requirements from the TRC when we made recommendations. My recommendation would be that we approve final plat 2024-01 and allow them to continue on with the proposal Liberty Acres of developing this subdivision.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion for us to approve the final plot of Liberty Acres subdivision, 2024-01?
I make
Mayor,
that
move to
motion.
approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda are board appointments. If you'll turn to that section.
Mayor, I tell you by the end of the night that the town council will probably be tired of hearing my voice because I have several action.
You're taking the show
Never.
tonight, Sean.
Yes, ma'am, I have several action items on the agenda tonight.
Sean Show.
But we will move briefly and swiftly through this. As you know, we announced in our past couple town council meetings that we were looking for 3 positions for our MSD board for the downtown district. We currently needed 4 because we were not counting Ms. Donna Woods, who had to resign due to taking a position, so we needed 4. So we ended up having the meeting last month, and we ended up having the board recommend 4 people to the council. They recommended Mr. Slade Woodard, who is a Nashville resident with interest in the downtown, Mr. Johnny Brim, a Nashville businessman, Ms. Brittany Young, a downtown Nashville business owner, Ms. Garrett Shuren, a downtown Nashville business owner. If anybody's watching live or you're here, Presley, I truly apologize if I did mess up your name. Charge to my head and not my heart. If these applicants were approved by the town council, Garrett Shuren will finish the term for former board member Donna Woods, who resigned 2 months ago, and the board can have up to 11 members according to our bylaws. There are currently 7, so Slade Woodard, Johnny Brenham, Brittany Young will fill those 3 open positions on the board. The board recommended that Ms. Evelyn Hart and Bethany Lewis remain in the applicant pool and be appointed when other board members' terms have expired. Mayor, you have in your hands tonight the applications of everybody who
Yes.
did apply. I will yield to you and the council for deliberation to make recommendations or to go with what was recommended by the MSD Downtown Strong Advisory Board for who they recommended.
Okay, we have those. Council, you've looked at the suggested nominees for these positions. Do you have any concern about any of the nominations?
Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
I see here that we have, well, I love the fact that we have all of these applications. We have people on a wait list. I think that's amazing. And I really hope that everybody who's on this page remains actively engaged with the town. But we do have 3 applicants here that own businesses in downtown Nashville. So we have Garrett Sheeran, who's painted teacher.
Right.
Brittany Young, who is Heritage and now the coffee shop, but also Bethany Lewis, who is also 50% owner of Heritage and Coffee Shop. Having 3 downtown business owners, I think we should give top priority to those being on the board. And then for the final one, I would love to have somebody who either works or resides in downtown proper. And I do see that we have 1 applicant who does reside on Body Street downtown. So for the 4th applicant, I would suggest to be Slade Woodard, but that's just my opinion, if anyone has other opinions.
Mayor, if I may, I'm a little bit concerned that we're giving priority to being a business owner or having an address that is assembled with downtown. It was
Those
made.
are the taxpayers.
I want to finish my
Sure,
statement.
yes.
It was made clear to me upon the last time when the MSD Representative Sean was before us that we was in need of applicants. And at that particular time, I asked, or someone asked the question, what was the requirements? Live in Nashville, show an interest for downtown. Now, I'm a little bit concerned because I want an advisory board in 2024, 2025 to have given priority to all applications, all that have received or what have you. And I'm aware that Ms. Hart is with us even on this evening, and most of us know her. I know that you've worked with her in the professional arena. You know that she have a stellar career, and I'm just a little concerned if we ask the question, what are the requirements? And then we get the requirements, and we go back into the community and invite people to participate, that now we come back and we want to change the rules along the way. I think there should be diversity on every advisory board in the town. And while I feel like I have a good grasp of who the people are on this advisory board, I too have reviewed the applications. I've looked at when they've came in and things of that nature. And I do understand that some may have even came in on the very night of the meeting. I'm totally appalled in 2024 that we would sit here and would move in this type of direction. And Sean, this is no direction towards you.
Yes, sir.
But I am totally appalled that we would move in this direction and start stacking our advisory board without giving other people who I feel have stellar careers, stellar reputations, and can represent the MSD, shop downtown, love downtown, went away to college, came back and served in this community, and probably have taught most of us in here. And if you're a teacher or a principal, her sister in the Triangle at UNC have trained most of all of them. I'm just appalled. And I want it to go on record where I stand. And this recommendation that has come out tonight, I will not stand for it. And I will not be able to vote for it. Not tonight, not ever. I'm looking for diversity going forward, and I want to send a clear message to every advisory board in this town.
Mayor, if I may.
I did have something to say, but I think he said it all.
Yes.
We have preached that we want diversity throughout all of our boards through town,
And we have.
and we've tried, but this does not show that we went in that direction. It does not.
Okay.
I think downtown business owners, and I understand what you're saying and wanting just diversity, but downtown business owners are the ones who are paying this tax. They're paying into the fund that is the MSD board. It is the Downtown Strong board. So I would still give priority to downtown business owners. If you want to open it up, I've never met Miss Evelyn Hart, So I apologize. I don't know her. I don't know.
I do.
What-
She's fantastic.
That's great.
She really
So
is. I mean,
that
I've
leaves
worked with her
another
and I know her.
position open. And if we want to go with that, hi,
You need to
nice
come
to meet you.
Will we add one more to the?
Well, that would leave one position open. So if we wanted to do the downtown
That's
business
what-
owners, the 3 downtown business owners,
And then add-
do Miss Evelyn Hart, that would be fine as
Right.
well. But I don't want to deter when we have been begging and pleading downtown business owners, get involved. This is your money that's being spent. You should have a voice here. I do think we should give priority to those that pay the tax. That's what I'm
not-
saying
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So if we want to give that other position to Ms. Hart, that's fine. It still leaves a position open, and I do agree with you. We should have diversity.
Absolutely.
I did not take a look at this. I did not Facebook stalk anybody to see what anyone looked like.
Okay.
So I don't want you
Yeah.
to think that I'm intentionally stacking anything. This is my point of view.
Sean, with these new additions
Wait just
to
a
the,
minute.
Let's give her a moment to introduce.
Since you do not know me, and maybe some others in here do not know me, my name is Evelyn Hart, and I am a lifetime member of Nashville, North Carolina. I have lived here all of my life. I support the community. I am a taxpayer. I have been, as I said, I've been here all of my life except the 4 years that I went away to college at Fayetteville State University. When I returned, I had the privilege of being employed by Nash County Schools. I taught 27 years math at W.L. Green Middle School, located here in Nashville. And then when Red Oak Middle School was built, I was transferred there. And I retired from there after 35 years of teaching. I also still work with the Nash County Schools. I sub 2 days a week at Red Oak Middle or at the early college. I am interested in the beautification of downtown Nashville. I love like the little small town image, and I would like to keep that going. If I am elected, you will not be disappointed. I also serve on other boards here in Nashville and Rocky Mount. So I feel if you give me a chance, you will not be
Make a motion that
disappointed.
she's
I
added.
am a dedicated person. Thank you.
Mayor.
Amen.
Mayor.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
based on Ms. Hart giving us a thorough background of what she's done for Nashville, I would like to enter a motion that she be added toward the nomination to fill these board seats.
So what is your motion for who should fill the seats? Because we have 4 potential positions, 1 to fill the existing and then 3 new ones.
Okay, with her put on, how many would that give on the board?
We need 4, so she would fill one of the 3-year staggered terms, and now we would just need 2 more staggered terms and 1 to fill the unexpired
But what I'm
term.
saying, will she get us to 11 or we still below 11?
She will be 1, but we will still need 3 more recommendations.
You still need 3 more?
Yes, sir.
So just add her in.
Well, what I'm saying is, I would like to make the motion that we do the 3
And then
downtown
add her.
business
Yeah, oh, right.
owners
Yeah.
with Ms. Hart as the 4th.
That's right, that's what
Right.
I'm saying.
Yes.
Got it, yes,
Well,
ma'am.
based off of that, I second that motion.
I'm not sure what the motion is. Can somebody explain it to me?
The motion is that we are going to have
take the-
Garrett Sharon from the Painted Teacher,
Okay.
Brittany Young from Heritage and the Coffee Shop, Bethany Lewis from Heritage and Coffee Shop, and Miss Evelyn Hart from Regency.
We're taking all the business people plus 1 more.
Right.
Is there, did we get a second?
I don't even know who
I
made the
second
motion
it.
at this point.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye to approve these appointments to the board.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor, and we will let these people know when they can be at the meeting in November.
And Ms. Hart, I know that we will not be disappointed. Thank you.
Okay, Sean, scene 4. Act 4. This is the subdivision signs, food truck permits, and owning condition amendments to the town code.
Once again, Mayor and Council, good evening. We do have some things that we were able to get processed to update in our zoning ordinance. that we saw was fitting that we needed to address at this time. These were some items that was out of scope of work for Mr. Harvey, so when I noticed them, I just kind of took lead on this one and pushed it through our town council, our planning board to bring to you guys. We first noticed with our sign orders for subdivisions. Currently, we only allow 32 square feet. But in today's society with subdivisions in Wendell, Spring Hope, Roseville, Wake Forest, majority of these signs now are 40 square feet, 20 on both sides instead of 16 what the town would allow. So what we are asking for the sign ordinance is to change it where for one side, it will be 20 square feet, but for a double-sized subdivision sign, it will be 40 square feet. This is what today's builders are building for subdivision signs in majority of your Rosevilles, Wake Forests, Zebulons, and those areas up there.
And we have to have a public hearing on each one of these.
We do, so what I can do is go through all three and we can let one public hearing do for all.
We
If
can
that's
do
okay
that.
with you, Mayor.
Okay.
Our next one is the food truck ordinance. Currently in the other towns that I have served in before coming to Nashville, we had operators and we allowed a yearly permit fee in those towns where the food truck operator could come and apply on today's date and the permit would last till 2025, 1105 or 1104. Today is the 5th, 1105, 2025. Those same operators come to Nashville to do events in Nashville, and they have asked me if the town would be interested in looking in that. I thought right now, being that we're trying to upscale and tailor up our zoning ordinance to fit that in. So right now, a food truck operator has to pay $40 every time they want to vend. So what we're asking now is for them to have to pay a $500 fee. If they want to vend for a year long, if they have permission, they either continue going $40 per event or paying the lump sum $500. This will give them a calendar year to vend in the town, but they will have to still meet all the obligations of the food truck permit, submitting a site plan, letting us know where you're going to be at, and other things like that to make sure that it's allowed. So they will not be able just to pay the $500, then tomorrow morning say, I'm going to go to Sheets and sit up there. They're going to still have to come to us to make sure that it's allowed and show us everything they're going to be at to make sure it meets our ordinance. The planning board thought this would be very versatile for the town. We do want to protect our brick and mortar. We're all about our brick and mortar businesses in town, our taxpayers, but we also do want to give food truck operators a chance where they don't have to continue to come into town hall every day paying $40, where they do have the option to do this to give them more options. Now, one thing we did want to let food truck operators know that if you do pay the $500 yearly permit fee, this will not allow you to vend during the Blooming Festival. You still have to go through the Chamber of Commerce and their committees to be able to allow the vend through that. So we'll put a note on that permit that this excludes all Blooming Festival events. Please see the Chamber for those that weekend. And our last one is our awning ordinance, Mayor. As you know, we have a town commercial property maintenance code that we enforce for our commercial property buildings. And as you know, that our MSD does give out a facade grant to those people in the district. We thought right now with so many people being expired after having that great open town hall meeting on our facade grant and our D grant, applying for facade grants, that right now the town can use this ordinance to encourage more people to apply by addressing them and sending them what we would call a friendly notice of violation letter saying that your honor right now is kind of falling in a blight stage or disrepair. We want to cite you for it, but we want to encourage you to apply for the facade grant. Now, it just would not be fair to only have this in our downtown district, so we're opening it up for the entire town of Nashville. But of course, if you're not in the MSD district, you can't apply for the grant. So if it was somebody that say they were in the Piggly Wiggly Shopping Center or the other one, the Walmart Food Line one, we would just give them more time and work with them. But of course, the ones in downtown, we would encourage them, you can get this money reimbursed by using our facade grant while we have money pending. So those are our three recommendations for the zoning orders to make some updates. As I stated, all of these orders went before the planning board. The planning board did make recommendations. They did like every one of them. They thought it would meet the town of Nashville, help us continue to grow and help us to continue to grow well with our business owners. So Mayor, I will yield back to you for opening up of the public hearing and then we'll come back for recommendations.
Do I hear a motion that we open a public hearing so if anyone in the audience would like to speak towards either one of the three or all of them, that they may speak?
So made.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Trey?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
So, just made me think, like for, thank you. For like the event, the New Year's Eve egg drop, do the food trucks that will reside inside of that event have to get a permit?
I wrote it down. We need to make it all events, all special events. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can make a note that tonight that any special event,
Right.
our permit, if you buy the yearly one, does not apply for special events.
Correct.
Right.
You need to contact the chamber, whoever the operator, owner, or the applicant is for a special event to
Mm-hmm.
get the bid.
This is the one person in the one spot
Right.
deal.
Right, so if
Yeah.
you're making a deal with 4 food trucks, you don't want 6 more coming in that you didn't
Right.
make that deal with because they have their yearly permit.
Right.
Correct.
And do our, would the.
What's the process for your guys that are going to come in?
If they are invited to participate in this event, do the people that come that we have invited or signed up or commissioned to come provide food at the event, do they have to get a permit, a food truck permit inside of the event on the Junction property?
Trey, what we did last year when you guys did the event, we made a staff decision in-house that anybody that's going to event, and this is what I did in previous towns, anybody that's going to.
Speak up, they can't hear you.
What we did last year is we made a staff in-house decision, and I pretty much made the call on this one, that I feel like anybody that's going to come and vend for an event for the town of Nashville, was the Blooming Festival or the egg drop, they should not have to pay the $40 fee. It should be waived because they're doing a service to the town. Yes, they are going to make money vending that night, but I feel like out of gratitude, we should give them that service for that day.
How many other food trucks do we have make requests around here on an average? I know of 1 or 2, but how many do we?
Right now, currently for this food truck ordinance, it's only 3 truck operators in the town. I know it's 4 of them in the town that won't apply for the yearly permit. That said, if we did it, they would apply. But I think the other ones would just be as needed. If they want to set up one Friday night or one Saturday night, or the Vino Market's having something, or somebody else downtown, they would just come in and pay the $40.
Where'd you come up with the $500 cost?
Sir?
How'd you determine the $500 fee?
We looked at other towns. Some of those towns charge $150. We thought, being that if you pay the $500, it makes it equivalent. So we do have somebody that's brick and mortar, you know, their taxpayers. We can say, well, this person paid $500.
Right.
We think that's a reasonable amount for them to ask for a year permit. We didn't want to make it too low where the brick and mortar people lose, because, you know, these food trucks can come in and set up at a place in a year and can take away business for our brick and mortar. So we want to be able to explain to those members of the public that they pay $500 a town. Think that's a good fee to make them want to participate.
Okay. That was my
I
question.
mean, it seems low to me. It's only 12 times a year is what they're
Oh, I
paying
thought
for.
it seemed high.
I did too.
I didn't want to
As
deter
an
food
incentive.
trucks because I know that it's something that we've been talking about, you know, getting more food trucks in the area. I didn't want it to be a deterrent.
Right.
I think that, excuse me, go ahead.
No, Mayor, and I was just going to ask Trey that we kind of answer your question, because I hear where you were going, and we appreciate what you do, so I wanted to make sure that you were clear on what you was asking. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
So, I mean, I see that everybody's saying about the lowness, the low amount, but we also got to make sure we honor the people that spent a lot of money building a building. So we got to make sure that it's fair for everybody.
We started with an amount of $100, and the TRCT said maybe we should revisit. I know
$100 is way
the
too low.
neighboring town does $150, and they said we may need to beef it up to
Right.
protect our brick and mortar.
But,
So
but we
said
also
500.
protect our brick and mortar by not allowing them to set up within so many feet
Right.
of restaurants and
Right.
things like that.
They have to be 50 feet from a restaurant.
So if
I had
we
to go
see
back
this
and
as
look
being
at
a
it.
deterrent
Maybe
where
100.
if they come back and say, whoa, 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 you know, I've never paid this much or I'm not going to pay, then maybe we can revisit the price and lower it.
Now, after
They
they
have to
pay
be
this
100 feet from the entrance or exit of existing restaurant or outdoor dining area, at least 50 feet from a permitted food mobile vending cart location. So it's 100 feet from a business.
That's
50
not very
from a
far.
truck.
No, it's, you said 600 feet from a business?
100 feet from a
100 feet from a
business.
business, okay.
That's basically next door.
How many, I mean, I wish we had more restaurants to have this problem, but we don't.
I understand. We need more restaurants.
I think we'll get more, and maybe we can have that problem.
With this $500,
Maybe if the food trucks do well enough, they'll buy a building and open up shop.
That's right.
with this $500 fee, how often can they set up?
As many times as they want, sir.
I mean, I don't want food truck to pay $500, and every day I go down the street, there's a food truck sitting, the same one sitting up. That's a permanent building.
You said that they still have to get the
They still have to
okay
go
as
to
to
the town and
where.
turn everything in, but the $500 fee does give them a full calendar year to set up.
So they can sit up 365 days a year.
Yes, sir, they pay the 500, but so we gotta,
No, I don't think that's enough.
now we can put some limitation in it where you say 500
for
20
X amount of
events a
times.
year.
So they give you so many times a year,
Right, we can look at that.
not every day to the year.
Well, we don't want to be sitting there with flat tires for
No.
365 days either. We
But
want
Well,
who's going to
of
be the
course,
police?
They need to
Like,
move it.
who's counting how many times they go out there?
Well, of course, they would have to come apply every time they want to go to a location.
every time they go out, they got to apply.
They
Right.
still
They would
apply.
have to come
Right.
to the town, we would have to prove, so you know, it isn't like Joe's food
Okay.
truck will just sit there, break down, and be stuck there. Of course, then we will make sure that it's
I
not.
don't want that.
No, we're not gonna have that, no, not
Well,
at all.
Sean, I think if they wanted to come every day, when you are granting them permission to do it, you could make a call on that, couldn't you?
Right, if, you know, we start seeing that they're abusing, we can say, okay, you know,
You're abusing it.
We
Do you
may
want to
be-
put a cap on for 50 times or something so that you have that authority to say,
Yeah,
You can't come anymore?
Yeah, I don't want 365 days a year sitting there.
that could be an additional note with note 4 that we give them a cap of how many X amount of days the council.
I don't care if it's 365. What do you think, Larry?
How many? How many?
I wouldn't care if it's every day. If Sean approves it and they're paying a fee,
I don't want it every day. Not
it's a good
500.
food truck.
Well, I guess I want them, and I want the good ones.
I want them.
But at the same time, I don't want them to sit there and look terrible when they don't move or
That's
move
what
the
I'm
vehicle.
saying. That's what I'm
That could be a
saying.
problem.
Well, they gotta follow the ordinance, so they gotta be gone by the end of the day. You can't
Right.
say, you can't go.
Is that an
oh,
ordinance?
That's, well, pretty much we make them tell them at the end of the day, they put a certain time they're gonna vend, and by that time, they gotta be gone.
They gotta leave and then come back
Right,
and
so
set up
most
again
times,
tomorrow.
most people
Well, that's
vend,
helpful.
most people vend over here when they do something in downtown on Friday night, they say from 5 to 9. By 9:30, those trucks are out of here, so we will still make them require to leave. They just can't leave the truck parked there and then come back in the morning, open back up for business.
Well, Sean, what do you think would be fair to, you do that all the time. What do you think would be fair? Just leave it 365 days, and then if they abuse it, you call them?
Well, we do have a note that if they abuse it, we can void the permit. But
Right.
if we want to put a cap on it for 50 days, 25 days, I mean, we got to make it reasonable for the 500. So I guess I will yield to the council of a good number.
4 days a month. 4 days a month for 12 months.
Yes, sir?
I would just put a large number on it. What if it's someone who only works over the summer or only works over the winter or something like that? Like hot cocoa is not going to be sold over the summer. So I would just put a limit that you can do X amount of days throughout the year.
Do you want a number, Sean?
Y'all give me a number.
I just gave them one, 4 days a month.
4 days a month is what's
Well,
on the
that's
book.
not good.
Well, ice cream didn't do well in December.
All right, so let's go with 50.
Okay. Will everybody
Consider 50.
agree on 50? Or do you think we need more? What do you think, Xavier?
50 is fine, but I'm just a little interested because when we went into open hearing, seeing that we have a kind of large gathering tonight, didn't hear anybody from the congregation, and I'm not congregation, excuse me.
Preach it.
All right.
Come on, preacher.
From the audience, from the audience.
Come on, preacher.
And I know that you all have the same concern that we all have in Nashville, meaning that sometimes we desire to have more of a restaurant in town, and if you had an idea or anything, but apparently everybody's okay. Don't see anybody. I see a hand. See a couple of hands. Okay, that's what I was interested in.
It is the public hearing, so.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
we are public.
Yeah.
Right, you are the public.
Yeah.
Yes, you may.
And anybody else, for that matter.
Thank you. I was just going to make a point that they are a business, and if they're not making money, they're not going to set up there every day. And if they are making enough money to do that, then the town must want them, like the citizens must want them there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, we don't want somebody parking their truck and then just not coming back to it. So there needs to be some common sense. But, I mean, I would think that if they're making enough money and get enough traffic from the citizens of the town, that they're actually willing to come back that often and people are spending money and enjoying the food, like, I'd hate to, like, turn them away.
Good point.
But I don't know, you know, how you police that. And everybody's income desire for showing up the next day is different. So I don't know, you know, but I would just make that point that if they're busy enough to open up 365 days a year, then somebody must want the food that they're
The
selling.
food they're selling,
Yeah.
yeah. Who was, okay,
Okay, they
next.
should have a building.
Wiggins?
Elaine Robertson, 509 Park Court. In addressing the awnings, we have a building on the corner of Barnes and Cross, West Cross, and I've been looking at it, and there is a variety of heights. One cannot be adjusted. The others are in good shape. And my question is, will those that are in good shape and existing be grandfathered?
Sean?
Yeah, we've talked about it briefly.
Yes, they would be, because this orders that when you make you get a permit would go for anybody now, but all the existing ones would be grandfathered in. We would just work with them and give them recommendations of how to
Okay.
get them to a part to make it work.
Does that answer your question? Good. And sir, you have a question, some input.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Oscar Wiggins. I live at 911 South First Street. I want to address the issue about the food trucks. I think 50 is a plenty. I know you're paying $500, but we don't need trucks here 365 days a year. I also don't agree with within 100 feet. If I so owned a restaurant, that is too close to me. Which I don't own one, but I think that it needs to be farther away than 100 feet. Like I said, that's right outdoors next door. They call these food trucks because they're mobile. Just because they're not in Nashville, don't mean that I put them out of business because they're not here, because they can go to other towns. That's what they call them, food trucks. They're mobile. So we're not discouraging them. We're not taking money out of their pockets because we don't allow them to be here every day. So that's my concern. I think 50 is a good number to limit them to coming to Nashville. Thank you.
Thank you. Who, and did somebody, I see another hand? Oh, yeah.
Mr. Larry.
Okay.
Larry Cockrell, I do not own a food truck, but 50 times for a truck to set up, if I did own a truck, it wouldn't be worth it for me to have a $500 permit when I can only set up in town 50 times. That's 100 times a trip. I'd much rather go $40 and set up 100 times or 200 times at $40 a clip. If Trey, and I'm going to pick on him a minute, if Trey up at Brownsville had somebody that wanted to bring a food truck up so his employees that work in the meal part had an opportunity to not have to go anywhere for lunch, could pick up something and go back to work real quick, and he wants them to sit there 5 days a week and leave at night and come back the next morning, I think that truck should be able to do that if he wants to do it with his people.
Just to clarify.
To clarify, it's $10.
$10 per.
Yeah, it's $10.
If it's 50 times for $500, it's $10 per time that they set up versus the $40 that they would have to pay for each time.
Right, but if you start looking at that over 365 days,
Oh, but they only have to pay the flat fee of $500.
and now you're going to limit them to 50 times throughout that year.
Right. So if you wanted to set up every single day, you'd have to pay the $40 per day.
Right.
Which would definitely get high. So you just
Math-
wouldn't come
where's my
50 after 50
mathematician back
times.
here? The math to me doesn't make sense to pay $500 and then limit them to 500 setups. I mean, to 50
To 50
setups.
setups.
50
$500 for 50 setups.
But that makes it $10 per setup versus the $40 per setup that it would be if they did by the day.
That's true, but but now you're limiting them to 50 times. Whereas if
Right.
I pay $40 a trip, I can set up 365 days if I wanted to.
No, it's $40 per time.
It's
That's what I
$40.
said. At $40 per time. So in 1 week, 5 times 40 is what?
200.
But
That's what I'm
365
saying.
times
I don't think
40
that-
is
what I'm-
14,600.
What I'm saying though, Kate, is if a food vendor is paying $500 for a permit and it's good for 365 days,
Mm-hmm.
he should be able to set up, giving Sean notice of where he's gonna be 365 days if I owned a truck. That's what I'm saying. If we're gonna limit them and have them pay 500, but then they can only set up 50 times in 365 days, it's not worth it to them.
I agree. Any other comments?
I would say,
Trey, wait, we've got somebody.
somebody come.
Cool's coming.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
If you don't mind, Mayor, I just wanted to further clarify Trey Braswell's first question about the trucks at his special event. In the special event permit part of the ordinance, it does list food trucks as one of the things that you're applying for that permit for. So we've operated at our events and at the farmers market as part of that special event permit. We don't require them to go and pay the fee with Sean to set up. We do just make sure that we get a copy of their certificate from the health department of whatever county they're from, just to make sure that they are on the up and up and have all their certifications.
Thank you.
Cool. Is that a North Carolina permit, or is that in any state?
It comes from the health department in the county they reside. I don't believe we've had any from out of state, so I'm not aware of what it would be in another state.
Once they bring that permit, we keep it on file so they don't have to submit it every time. So like Parker's Barbecue, they came the first time, now we got it on file whenever they come, they just apply and pay the fee.
Okay, so we want food trucks.
But we don't want them every day.
We don't want them every day. We want them to make money, and we want our citizens to be able to get some food when they want some food. So what are we going to do?
Mayor, let me suggest, because I understand there's probably some concerns from the audience out here, and since this is something new, let me suggest that we go ahead and do this for the $500 for 50 days and see how it works out. And we can readdress this throughout the year and see if we need to adjust it higher or lower. Let's start out with the 50 for 500 and take the distance, the 100 feet, and make it 200 feet.
Can we do that right now? Because that's, I think you have to bring back.
Well, that's my suggestion.
Right.
But when we come out,
I would yield to the experts in the room, our town attorneys both, to answer that question if we can do all of that in one motion.
yeah.
Mayor and members of the council, if I heard that correctly, the suggestion was to adopt the ordinance with the 50 days maximum and the $500 fee, but to essentially keep it on the burner and revisit this issue sometime in the past. I don't think that really requires any specific, that's just simply expressing the intent that you'll take a second look at this, you'll adopt the ordinance as proposed with these numbers, and you'll take a second look down the road, some periodic review. I don't think that just is an expression of the intent of the council. I don't think that has to be codified in the ordinance itself.
No, the question is,
He wants to change
the
the distance.
current ordinance talks about having having the food truck not within 100 feet
Oh.
of a restaurant, and Larry's suggesting that we make it 200 feet of a restaurant, and I don't know if we can do that without having another public hearing or.
Oh, no, I think you're perfectly authorized to receive the input and decide that you'd rather go with a 200-foot setback as opposed to a 100-foot setback. I think it's entirely depending upon the will of the council at this point.
You presented all three of them at one time, so
Yeah.
I think we vote
So
them all.
I got another option on this $500. What if we did $500 for 50 times, and you can buy as many as you want in a year? So if you want to have 200, you buy 200 for $500 per 50. So you're paying, it's still $10 instead of $40. It's cheaper, but they can do it more, but they're paying more. That's another.
So instead of doing the 365, you would say, make the permit, you pay $500 for 50 events. After your 50, you come back, pay another $500 and
Correct.
get 50 more.
Correct. And the truck's got to be moved every night, and it's got to be 200 foot away from another restaurant.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, I want to be cautious here, optimistically cautious, because initially, what I hear Mr. Taylor suggesting takes us back to the 550 and put it on a trial period with 200 feet. Honestly, the way we are in Nashville and the small town feel and things of that nature, I think we're better off with moving something of that direction on a trial basis, because right now, you may get into something where there may be some type of abuse. And so you got to kind of feel it out. And I think if you go with anything more than that, you're suggesting something more than a trial. And in my personal opinion, I think that's something that probably needs to be done on a trial basis. I mean, when I'm looking at all of the ordinance and things that we're looking at in this town, I feel like I know the heartbeat of the people in this town, and we want to move in this direction, but I think we need to err on the side of caution. Because if you put it all out there, it's going to be hard to pull it back in.
So if you do it as a trial, are you saying, let's say we have 5 people sign up for the trial, but we 2 months from now, we decide the trial isn't working, do you still have those 5 people for the whole year? You can allow them to stay the whole year?
I think
Because they paid the fee.
you would have to.
You
I'm
wouldn't
just
have a
saying,
choice, right.
I'm okay with that, I'm just making sure you understand.
have to.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's do something.
I know-
Start building the building.
I know, I think, what I'm hearing, and it might be that if we do the 50 for $500, and then I also heard someone that spoke and said, these people aren't doing it just to do us a service. That's their income. So we can't, we've got to guard, if we want them to come, at the same time, we can't hurt their incomes. You see what I'm saying? So I think if we do it 500 for 50, and then if it works out nicely, then maybe we can come back and see about the frequency.
So
And
could we charge $40 after the 500, back to the $40 per time?
I think they're still allowed to do that.
So if
Yeah.
they go through the 50, they have the right to go back.
Back to the $40 per day. So I mean, it's a cost of
So it's
business.
a no-lose
There's a cost
there.
of business.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's a no-lose.
Do we still want the 200-foot setback buffer as we asked by Councilman Taylor?
I think so.
I would
Okay,
say,
I got it in.
yes.
Okay, now we need to come out of the public hearing. So do I hear a motion that we come out of the public hearing?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
So I would like to hear a motion that we can pass now that is agreeable with everyone.
So we gotta do 3 of them, right?
Three of them.
And
The first one is a sign orders that we can move it from 1632 to 2040.
right,
So we need a motion on that one.
so do I hear,
Mayor, that we approve the sign ordinance as stated.
okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So the sign ordinance for subdivision sign is approved. How about let's approve, we know there's no problem here with the awning, ordinance. Do I hear a motion for that one?
I believe Councilwoman Burrows may have a concern.
No, I'm okay. I thought you needed to say something
No,
before we
no,
approved it.
no.
Okay.
The honor orders.
So move, Mayor, for the awning audience.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Now we're going to go to the food truck ordinance. Is there someone that would like to give me a motion that we know what we're going to do and, with that?
Mayor, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mayor, I make a motion that we move forward with the food truck ordinance based off of the verbiage that we've used here tonight. To clarify, I'll restate it. $500 for the yearly use of 50 times with a setback of 200 feet
From an existing restaurant.
from existing restaurants. Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a second?
And the special events is already in there, right? We don't need to add that.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
added in the
Special
note.
already.
Yes, sir.
I second that.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we approve that for the food truck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, as always.
Thank you, Sean. Now, the last item on our agenda is changes to the drug testing policy. Trey, our Human Resource Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I come before you with some proposed changes to our drug test policy. In a nutshell, this is really kind of an education piece for the staff, letting them know about CBD products and how it can affect their drug screen. It's not saying they can't use them. It's just saying be careful because it can cause you to have a positive drug screen, and outlines what would happen if that does happen. It also clarifies exactly what is a qualifying event for us to test someone post-accident. The policy was kind of vague before, and this kind of narrows it down to give us some clarity on when we would or would not test someone post-accident. And then the other are just some small changes, adding some statutes and law clarifications and some word changes.
Okay, after reading this, do you have any questions for Trey? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the recommended changes to the town's drug testing policy?
Move to approve, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
It is approved.
Thank y'all.
you so much, Trey. So that brings a conclusion to all of our items on our agenda. Do any of the council, start with you, Xavier, have anything you'd like to say?
Yes. Mayor, first of all, I'd like to thank our audience for being with us, and at least I know the difference between the audience and the congregation.
Well, I thought you were going to take up an offer, and I was getting ready to leave.
But on a very serious note, most of us are aware that tonight's date is November the 5th. And I know we've spoke about this, and I've spoke with Randy, our town manager, a few days ago, and it's too late to cancel the meeting. But I want to go on record tonight because of the sincerity of tonight and what this day represents. We are asking our citizens to come out and support and being present in our meeting, to be engaging and help us work through situations for our citizens. And it's challenging to do that when this meeting starts at 7, and some people perhaps are getting off of work and still going to the polls at 7:30 and can get in up to 7:30. For me, if I was in church, I would call it a sin that we would be here. And so I want to go on record tonight in short order and simply say that my recommendation is that we never schedule a Nashville Town Council meeting on any election night.
And that
going
has
forward.
already been discussed and taken care of. So,
But for the record,
okay.
for the record.
I mean, we cancel it every time any of us are actually running in the election.
Right.
And.
But we aren't even going to have it anymore
Yeah.
on voting, like November the 5th. But thank you anyway for that information. We
Just for the
appreciate
record.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Kate?
I'm good, thank you.
Bill?
I'm good.
You, sir?
I just want to thank everybody for coming, and we
Right.
appreciate it when you're here.
Randy, do you have any comments?
I'm good, Mayor, thank you.
And also, I appreciate you coming. You are the ones that elected us to serve you, and we expect you to be here to help us out, and we appreciate it when we see your smiling faces here at the meeting. So please come out, and thank you so much for coming tonight. If there are no more items on our agenda or comments, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Is second?
Second.
All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.